He likes the Brewers randomly. So
Watch
there you
Brewers.
go.
Yeah, yeah,
There you go.
yeah,
Brewers
yeah.
baseball, folks.
Brewers
Brewers and
baseball.
Tigers. But he
Yep.
lives in
My oh
Ohio.
my. Lives in Ohio. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
So
yeah, so all in all, Dave, good atmosphere, good time. It sounds like downtown, fun.
Yeah.
promoted the pod.
Yep. Walk
Yeah,
around, talk
okay.
to people, say
Yeah,
what's
Guys,
nice.
up.
Yeah.
tell them about our Twitter page, how
Yeah.
Yep.
fire it is.
Yeah, Dave. Now, when you were going around there, did you say, "Yeah, I've created this podcast"? Were you taking credit for it or anything? Something for
Nah, I always got to
Should
give
have.
credit to my boys. You know.
I would have been taking credit. I'd be like, look at
Oh,
this podcast I created all by
I
myself.
created. Yeah,
I hired
yeah.
these guys to work for me. You listen to them. They're a hoot. Oh man.
Yeah,
Um, so no, so I mean overall take anybody like have anything really to say about the game? I think we pretty much summed it up in
yeah,
passing conversation. This is a
yeah,
disappointment altogether. It was fun for those first 3 quarters. I personally was watching it with my family, my mom and my aunts and my uncle and my kids and my wife all at my mom's house. So it was cool. But like you guys are saying, that fourth quarter was rough. Luckily, my kids are getting crazy, so I got an excuse to cut that off and go home, and didn't have to see the most of the fourth quarter. Just got it the blow by blow through the group chat from J Mo and D Wood, and man, they were D Wood was quite upset, folks. I don't think I think Monday is when he finally like calmed down and saw the brighter side of
Yeah.
it.
It hurt, man. It hurt for a while there. And like I
yeah.
said, I was a little
I get it. And
intoxicated.
just
Yeah.
imagine if this team had expectations. You might
I
Yeah.
know.
D Wood might we might have had to film or record this next week so we can get a week to.
Yeah,
Next year I'm gonna be a lot more heated. I'm gonna get more
Oh
yeah,
heated.
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Because
Just think if
next
this.
year it's playoffs or bust.
Yeah, yeah. Just
Yeah.
think if this team had expectations, we'd have to put Dave Wood's picture on orange juice cartons. Have you seen this man? Missing.
Um, with all that being said, I think it's not. I mean, it's a good time to kind of tap into thoughts on the season
Yeah.
overall. You said the record was 44 and that's 44 and 36, I think, or 44 and 32. Let
You're
me
the
see.
guy that invests money. You should know math pretty easy.
I think it's
Hey,
44 and
44.
36.
I got it right the first time. Yeah, I just
No,
wanted to
no,
make
it's
sure I was
44 and 38.
38. See, butchered
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But regardless, I say that to say, I'm I'll lead it off as far as the recap goes. I'm happy with the progress. Considering anytime number 23 has left us, it's been an ugly regrouping and loading of the Cavs. You could argue to say that first thing we never reloaded until he came back. But I will say, like, this second go around as far as post LeBron, I think our front office, especially Dan Gilbert, learned a ton of lessons from the first time. Number one, to stay out of basketball operations. He has been in the background since he had his stroke. You don't see Dan Gilbert at press conferences. Kobe Altman is the face of the front office. I think that's how it should be moving forward. I think Dan learned a lot from his time with David Griffin and all that stuff, and kind of how that went. I think worse than it should have as soon as it did. So I'm overall like and to sum it up, I'm happy. There is still a little disappointment. I hate to see my guys lose. Nobody likes to watch their teams lose. But at the same token, there's a lot of promising pieces. I like the fact that Kevin Love is going up for sixth man of the year. Darius Garland, most improved player, which I didn't even think that he would be in consideration for. I thought he's always been great, but when I think about his start, yeah, he did start a little slow with his injuries. He's coming off injury, and Evan Mobley, rookie of the year, man. Considerations. So exciting stuff. Nice nucleus to build on. So
Yeah.
so JMO, what are your thoughts on the season?
I'm absolutely ecstatic with this team. Like, we won 44 games. That was 24 more games than I thought we were going to win. Um,
So you bet the under for sure in Vegas
yeah,
this year.
I thought about it.
Yeah,
Trust me.
for sure.
Very ecstatic. Very happy with JB. Obviously, I agree with you a lot on the Dan staying out of things. Kobe Altman is definitely the face. But obviously this is what JB's second year, right, with the team. First full
Second
season,
year.
right?
First
First
full,
season.
yeah.
Yeah, first full season, second year at the team, but very happy with the progress he's made. And if Evan Mobley doesn't win Rookie of the Year and that little turd bucket up in Detroit wins it, I'm going to be absolute irate.
It's
Same.
Scotty Barnes that they're talking about now, not Kate Cunningham.
Scotty doesn't score.
Yeah, I agree. It should be Evan Mobley.
It should be
I
Evan
would agree
Mobley.
too. If we don't have Evan Mobley, we don't win half the games down the stretch when Jared Allen was
exactly.
out.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Speaking of Jared Allen, I think we all as a podcast owe Jared Allen an apology.
Yeah. Well, I was just trying to bully him, man. I'm telling you, bullying works. I was bullying him into putting.
Jared, sincerely from the I-71 Fast Break podcast, we are sorry, sir. You played your ass off on Friday. I will backtrack a little bit to the game and say that as I think about the season. You had a great season. I did not expect all that out of you coming from the Nets. I didn't know you were that important to them because you were definitely important to us as we saw down the stretch. And you made them have to turn Trae Young on. They couldn't play basketball other ways. So thank you, and we're sorry.
I would just like to point out that I did not bully him or say anything mean about him. I was pro Jared Allen.
I'd say it goes D Wood 1, me 2, then
J-Mo. You could tell he toughed through it too. So I do give him props because he wasn't 100%. He only had 3 rebounds, but I still think he played his ass off and gave it his all. And if he had 100% Jared Allen, it could have been even more of a different game.
Yeah.
So
I agree, but he taped it up. That's all we can ask for.
And by the way, I know you too. Well, D Wood is. Karis LeVert had a hell of a game, I thought.
It was so. He had high moments, low moments, but better than usual, I'd say.
He did prove he could shoot the basketball that night.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's asking a lot.
Yeah.
In the game of basketball.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that is. But guys, that like I said, the season's over. But I've got some great stats here, some very fun stats about us and versus the Eastern Conference playoff teams.
Welcome to the hot box.
Welcome to the hot box. I did some research while I was driving home from Milwaukee, but just really quick want to point out a few interesting stats here. So the Cavs had a season high 6-game winning streak. Also, like I pointed out earlier, that was the most wins on a non-LeBron led team. Also got a little BA knows this from our other podcast. I'm a big trivia guy. I like to dabble in trivia. Do you guys know who led the Cavs in steals this year?
D Wood, you guess first.
Steals. I'm going to say Ricky Rubio. No, he was talking too long. I'm gonna say Cedi Osman.
Wow.
Okay. All right. BA, what you got?
I don't know that
stat. I would guess. Just because the way you're asking it, you wouldn't expect them. Rondo.
Well, the correct answer is Ricky Rubio.
Oh, I almost said it.
Oh man, I know Rondo's a steal machine. Kind of figured.
Yeah, Ricky Rubio. And then we also, guys, real quick before I get these stats, we also got the report I sent out today that Ricky Rubio is open to re-signing in Cleveland.
I love to see that. I was watching clips.
Bring back the Spanish God.
Yep, I was watching clips like when he was on the team. They were playing probably their best basketball when he was with this team. That's when, and I think he's much better than as a backup point guard than Rondo is, where Rondo's at in his career. And he is. I mean, I would love to have Rubio back. I would bring him back, and he'd be cheap. He's coming off an ACL injury. I don't think he's going to cost an arm and a leg.
Yeah, he's a league minimum guy for sure right now.
And then if you think about it, if Rondo, I'm sorry, BA, but Rondo said, he's getting to the end of his career. Like maybe JB says, hey, man, why don't you just kind of ride off into the sunset? You got your championship rings. Why don't you kind of ride off the sunset and come join the staff?
He might want to. I don't know, because Rondo's just as old as I am. So he's 35, 36 years old.
That's old.
Yes. Hello. I could see him fading into the background, being one of those random coaches you see on a bench with the suit on. You're like, hey, I recognize that guy.
Yeah. Just kind of like Greg Oden at Ohio State games.
Yes. Is he still on the bench? Is he still coaching?
Yeah, he just actually just took a job at Butler to go work to coach with that.
Good for him. Good for Greg Oden, man.
Yeah.
I know. I remember when he graduated a few years ago. Good for him.
Yes. So this is not an Ohio State podcast, but I have to tell a story to talk about Greg Oden. I was at an Ohio State basketball game. We got there early. We were watching him warm up, and this guy in front of us goes, "Hey Oden, what was the Civil War like?"
Wow. Yikes.
It's like, Jesus, dude.
I was about to say, of all the old man jokes, you go to the race card first. Jesus,
I know. It's
like a special human being.
And that's when I looked at the guy, and my buddy goes, "Dude, out of all the old man jokes, you pull that one first." He was like,
Exactly.
"I didn't know what to say," and I was like, "Well, you better think of something quick because here comes security to get your ass."
Well deserved.
Yeah.
What a dumbass.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, the hot box, as BA calls it, got some stats. So if you guys were to guess, we do. Out of the 8 teams that are in the NBA playoffs, did anyone have a guess on who our best record was against the playoff teams? You guys just want to take a guess?
All right.
Raptors.
I would say, surprisingly, the Hawks.
D-Wood, you got partially it right. It's the Raptors at 3-1. We also went 3-1 against the Bucks. Our worst team was the Hawks. Our worst team was against the Hawks. Or I'm sorry, our worst 2 teams were the Hawks and Sixers. Hawks we were 0-3 against. Sixers we were 0-4 against.
We beat the Hawks at some point this year. I guess I'm thinking wrong.
Not according to what I found.
You're the facts, man. I'm not going to question it.
Yeah, so the Heat we were 2-1, Hawks 0-3, Sixers 0-4, Raptors 3-1, Bucks we were 3-1 against, the defending champs. Bulls we were 1-3, Celtics 1-2, Nets 1-4. So we're 11-19 against the playoff teams, which, if you look at it, isn't bad. It's
for a young team. It's what you expect.
Yeah,
it's kind of what you expect.
Yeah. So.
And they got a little bit of experience this year. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah. So especially against the defending champs. I mean, they have, who, in my eyes, is arguably the best player in the NBA, in Giannis. I mean, every year, I think he's the best player in the NBA. But, you go 3-1 against that team. In my eyes, again, you look at that Bucks team and you're like, it's a good team, but they got dudes on that team, man. Middleton, Giannis, Holiday, Lopez, Connaughton.
Yeah.
They just got guys.
The first couple, there's 3 games in there. Two or three, they didn't have many of their guys, but I do remember they had all their guys. It was at home. It was the first time we played them at home, and that was the best game they played all year, and that game was electric. I remember that was a great game.
Did we blow them out?
Blew them out.
Yeah.
Dean Wade was balling. Everybody was balling. They had the whole band together going.
Best Wade. D-Wood, before we move into more playoff talk, I'm going to get your take on this season, man, especially because you're like more higher expectations for this team. What are your thoughts, man? How do you feel about the Cavs?
See, this is where I'm actually going to be positive, man. I mean, obviously it's stung.
Boo, we want pessimism.
It stung Friday, because they were at the All-Star break, they were minus 4,500 to make the playoffs, which is like ridiculous odds to make the playoffs. So if you bet like $100 on the Cavs to, not make the playoffs at the All-Star break, you would have made quite a bit of money. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and I was in Vegas in March. I could have at least got some of that.
So that kind of stung, but like you said, the starting 5 is all 25 and under. They went through a lot of injuries. If the injuries, I mean, if you have Rubio, Sexton, all those guys on this team, I mean, I think you're adding at least 6 to 8 more wins. I think this team could be almost a 50-win team. They definitely would have been in. There's a lot to like about this team moving forward, as you stated. I think year 2, year 3, Evan Mobley is going to be fucking disgusting. He's going to be so messy.
I can't wait.
He's going to be so good. I'm talking like KG level good. I'm calling it. I'm booking it. Take that to the bank.
I'll take a KG.
So, I mean, I really think this team, if they stay healthy, shake off the injury bug next year, you can add 10 wins to this team. I really think it's possible. And I think the future's bright. And go Cavs.
Yeah.
Cavs.
Fair enough, man. All right.
Yeah.
Well, since we were talking about the Cavs record against the playoff teams, why don't we just talk some playoffs since our Cavs are sitting at home with us, probably on podcast too, recording
Yeah.
their own respective ones. But
Jared Allen
yeah,
play switch.